Well, Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV. Well, I'm in this bathroom here at the hotel in Swindon. It's a Travelodge, a bit like the one I had in Leeds, but there's no warning sign. There's no warning signs about the towel rail or anything like that. So I think I'm going to sue them. Yeah, make a bit of money. That sounds like a good idea. The conference is over. The thing about these conferences, they always are. They always go over so soon. Now, the last speaker of the day was Malcolm Robinson, who is actually sort of one of the organisers of the conference, and he spoke last year about his work. He's a very, very experienced Scottish paranormal investigator who runs the SPI, which stands for Scottish Paranormal Investigation. And he has basically been doing this for about 35 years. That's how experienced he is. And he spoke particularly about a particularly famous case, which was that of the Livingston incident, which is a very, very compelling UFO story that happened in 1979. What happened was a guy called John Taylor, who's a forester in West Lothian, Scotland, was out and about one day doing his job, and he walked up a little lane in the middle of this wood. He came out in a little glade, and there was this UFO there, a circular UFO with a big sort of like flange around the middle, the equatorial band. They had little round circles on it like holes or portholes. He was standing there trying to gather his senses back when faced with this strange apparition, when these three small spherical objects dropped, or two small spherical objects dropped out of the machine, and they started rolling towards him, and they had these little spikes on them, so they looked like old-fashioned naval mines. And basically these things attached themselves to his trousers through hooks like burrs, and they pulled him flat down on the ground, and basically he lost consciousness. He came round later and managed to struggle back to his van, and he went straight to the police station. He was extremely sick, and he was vomiting, and he was dizzy, and he was in terrible state. The police sealed off the area and treated it as a crime, and they found lots of little indentations where these burr-like objects would have stuck into the ground. Now Taylor stuck by his story till his dying day. He died in 2007. And what's more, Malcolm Robinson has the trousers. The pair of trousers, Taylor gave them to Malcolm. And you know, Malcolm is Malcolm brought them to Glastonbury with him in 2008, and I saw them. He showed them to me. These trousers, it's just ordinary sort of like workman's trousers, but they have they have like a large rip near the pocket, near the right hand pocket, and another one on the other side, and this is where these hook-like objects from these burr-like things stuck into the trousers and ripped them. Anyway, a skeptic has recently come forward with a remarkable explanation, and it harks back a little bit to what I said at the ASAP conference about how skeptics will favour any normal investigation. No, skeptics will favour any normal explanation as opposed to a paranormal one, even if the normal one makes far less sense. And this is a good example of that. What this researcher is saying is that John Taylor actually was poisoned. He was overcome by an hallucinatory dose of belladonna. Now, belladonna is a highly toxic plant. It produces the deadly nightshade berries, and 10 of those could actually kill you. In smaller doses, you take 1 or 2. By the way, don't try this, alright? Don't try it. They usually produce things like hallucinations and malaise. And this is what he said happened. He said that this guy had basically been coming into contact with belladonna. He'd either eaten some of the berries, or he'd rubbed it into his skin, because it can be absorbed through the skin. The image he saw was actually something that was broadcast on TV a couple of days ago. A couple of days earlier, an episode of Doctor Who had been broadcast, which showed a spacecraft extremely like the object he saw in the forest at Livingston. And that's where basically his brain had dug up this memory from a couple of nights ago and brought it into his real life. The sickness and malaise that he experienced afterwards was caused by this belladonna poisoning. Now, To me, this is a completely and utterly nonsensical explanation. And it just goes to show. I mean, this is another lighthouse at Rendlesham Forest. There's another burning truckload of manure, a runaway ice cream van. You name it. I mean, the things the skeptics come up with are so crazy. They're way beyond anything we could imagine. Firstly, this guy's an experienced forester. How on earth could he have suffered belladonna poisoning? Secondly, belladonna doesn't grow in that wood. It's never been seen in that wood before. Thirdly, I mean, the vomiting, the diarrhoea, the malaise that Mr. Taylor suffered, it's simple, it's shock. In fact, I said this about Dr. Jonathan Reed when he had his encounter in 1996. Reed thought that he'd been attacked by some kind of chemical weapon from the creature that he encountered. I think it's more like to be shock, and it's as simple as that. It's just shock. If you've been a little kid wandering alone in the woods where belladonna is known to have grown, yes, you can explain it that way. You can't explain the Livingston incident that way at all. Now, Malcolm is interested in all kinds of paranormal subjects, not just UFOs. He's also very keen on the Loch Ness Monster, which is a very interesting subject, one of the most famous mysteries of all. There's all sorts of theories about that. I think it must be some kind of fish. It can't be a reptile, anything air-breathing. It must be some kind of fish. I mean, there's Jonathan Downes, the cryptozoologist, says that it's a unique-eel. This is a giant eel that grows to enormous lengths because it never goes to the sea to breed because it has atrophied genitalia, hence its name. So enormous, long unique-eel. Malcolm also goes on ghost hunts, and he's written books about ghost hunts. He's written a very, very good book called The UFO Case Files of Scotland. Now, Scotland, is a country. It's a very small country, but for its size and population, it has more paranormal and UFO events than any other country in the world. So really, if you want to go and see these things, Scotland's the best place to go. It really is. Oh, it's been a great conference. I'll say a little bit more tomorrow when I do my final thoughts. But yeah, we're tired now. I went out with Jack again and Carrie, and we went and had a few drinks and had a meal. And I remember last night I wasn't very articulate when I tried to do a long review, so I'm not going to try tonight. So, I'll go into more of this tomorrow morning. Until then, I'll see you. Night night. Pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.